Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Money Mondays. My name is Paul Johnson. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development here at GPCOG, and I am joined by,
Belinda. I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives here at GPCOG.
and we are about to bring you the most exciting 15 minutes of your entire work week.
Woo woo! There we go. It's a big promise.
So I have a really quick pitch slash topic today. As many of you on the line here know, GPCOG has a subscription to Placer.ai. Belinda, can you advance the slide for me? Okay. What is Placer? It's really just third-party cell phone data, and they use that third-party cell phone data to analyze the people's movements. So we can gather information on how many people visit a particular location in your town or city in a certain day or a month or a year. And we can look at certain locations. One caveat to that is some of the municipal owned land doesn't work if it is flagged as also containing a school. So if it's like children, and so sometimes people want to say, hey, how many people are going to that basketball court? Sometimes we can get that answer. Sometimes we can't, because if the basketball court is considered part of the school, the data is not available because you can't track children. But for the rest of the population, we can track them. And so we have a countywide subscription we have for 2 years. And there's two things you can do with that. You could do ad hoc requests from me. So you can email me directly and say, hey, Paul, we have this restaurant on the corner. They're struggling. They want to know if their visitor track data is down. Is it up? What does it look like year over year? We can do those. Those types of requests, I highly encourage slash ask you to make those as specific as possible. What I have found with some of the requests is they're a little general, and in order for me to really produce something that's meaningful for you, the more specific you can be for me immediately, the more effective I am. So, for example, an email that I struggle with would be, how many people go to McDonald's on Route 1? Well, that's difficult for me. But if you tell me how many people went to McDonald's this month, this March, compared to last March, that's the sort of, in a certain time period, those requests tend to be more fulfilled. I've also started with 5 of our communities. I've also started some standing reports. So essentially, these are monthly reports that pick 5 points of interest and give you the breakdown of what has happened at those 5 points of interest. If you're one of those 5 communities on the line now, you can actually change those points of interest that I automatically plugged in. Just ask me. And if you're a community that is not getting these reports, you can email me and ask me for them. Now, the reason why I bring this all up is this renews in May of this year. And I will be very honest with everybody on the line and those in YouTube land. As of right now, we're leaning towards canceling this subscription. I value taxpayer dollars pretty highly, and if I don't think we're getting the value of it, I'm not going to spend the money on it. I think it's a great tool. I just don't think I've utilized it as much as it should be. So really, I'm doing this final push for the next 2 or 3 months, or 2 months, I should say, to see if I can convince myself that this subscription is worth keeping moving forward or not. If it's not, that's totally okay with me. But I wanted to do one last pitch as I make my final decision. And with that, Belinda, I think I am done.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm talking today about the Frances Hollis Brain Foundation Fund. This is a fund through the Maine Community Foundation. It opened just last Monday, and the deadline to submit is May 1st. And we have a picture here of the Harrison Food Bank, because that is the kind of program that could potentially benefit from this fund. So the purpose of the fund is to support organizations that are serving disadvantaged populations. They want the organization to have broad community support, to be effective, and to focus on these specific issue areas. So we have education, we have healthcare, homelessness alleviation, hunger prevention and food security, and then legal services associated with any of these things. So in your community, in your school system, if you have before and after school care, if you have a food pantry, if maybe you have oral health initiatives that are coming through your municipality in some way, or if you're working on homelessness or any of these things, then you might be able to benefit from this fund. Municipalities are eligible, schools are eligible, state agencies, tribal governments, nonprofits. If you are not one of these and you don't have a 501c3, then you can be fiscally sponsored if you don't have a tax status that qualifies you. The key here is you do have to be within the fund's defined geographic area, and Greater Portland does include our region. I did reach out to the contact person for this fund just to make sure that they define Greater Portland the way we define Greater Portland. And he said, yes, we use that broader definition. We have granted funds to Bridgeton before, so that is a possibility. There are two types of grants here. There's project grant and there's general support. So project grant, both, I should mention, are for 2 years now. Now, this is new. This used to be an annual opportunity, but they have moved to a 2-year opportunity. So you can get up to $5,000 per year for 2 years. They're all multi-year grants now. So the project grants are if you have a specific project, if it's new or if it's expanding in some way, if you're applying for the first time, or if you've only received one previous grant from Frances Hollis Brain, this is where you're going. General support, you can get up to $20,000 a year, but you have to have received at least 2 previous awards from the fund, and your primary work has to fit into the issue areas. So if you are a municipality, your primary work is probably not hunger prevention. However, you might have a program whose primary work is hunger prevention. So you'll want to reach out to John Ochira, who is the contact person, and just see if that will qualify. I have a picture of the Homeless Services Center here. Obviously, it's a very big line item in the Portland budget, has its own separate everything. I suspect this would be okay to apply for some funding, but you want to reach out and find out. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. And the other thing is municipalities and nonprofits might want to partner. So if you have a nonprofit in your town that is doing some of this work, but they don't have tax status, then perhaps you can apply as their fiscal sponsor to help them get funding to address some of your community's needs. Some recent winners: Mid-Coast Hunger Prevention Program, which I think is up in Brunswick, Tedford Housing, the Bath Area Backpack Program, and in Portland, the Cathedral Church of St. Luke. And you can see what they have all received the money for. Food security is a big one, homelessness alleviation. Those are some big items in the winning category. Key features. Okay, so $20,000 per year for general support, up to 2 years for 2 years, $20,000 per year, up to $5,000 per year for 2 years for project. There isn't a required cost share here, but when you apply, you do have to submit your operating budget, and they'll want to see, where does the funding you're asking us for slot in? How much of the total project are we making up? Who else are you getting money from? Helps them to determine your capacity to complete the work. You do want to plan ahead. This is an online application. So it's through Submittable is the name of the portal that's used by lots of different folks. You'll want to sign in, get an account there, and get yourself set up. It's not difficult. So this is a 2-step process, though. I've noticed Maine Community Foundation is really trying to streamline things to both save time for people who are applying and for people who are reviewing these applications. So for this, you now have a letter of inquiry to submit, and you can do that through the portal. And that's the first step. And they will look at these. That's due May 1st. And if your project fits and they feel like it would be a good application, they will invite you to submit a full application. And when you do that, the online portal walks you through everything. It's very straightforward. So really, a letter of inquiry to get in line, and then the online portal to finish it up. So a 2 on the difficulty scale. And the deadline for that first piece is May 1st. They will notify by August 20th the winners. And so if you apply on May 1st, you'll be notified, and then you have to submit your final application before that. It'll be like July or June. So there is the grant page linked here, your eligibility and grant guidelines from Maine Community Foundation. You can sign in and create your account on their portal. John Ochira is the staff person. He's the contact for this, and we have his contact information there. And you can also look at the last 3 years of grantees if you want to see what kinds of things are winning. That is it. So there we are. I hope this time change is treating everyone well. I do find this one to be the difficult one. I like the other one. I love waking up and having it go back, and I feel so productive. Like I woke up and it's an hour earlier already. Look how well I'm doing. So
Awesome. Well, I like I said before we recorded it helps my lighting situation, so I'm on board right now. So
yeah.
With that, thanks everybody for attending. And if it's money, then it is Mondays.
And if it is Monday, then it is money.
Goodbye,
Have
everybody.
a good week. We will see you next week. Bye.